To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
Welcome to the Wicked Theory Podcast, DC TV wrap-up for the 2016-2017 television season. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined, and I have friends with me this week.
It's amazing.
Yes, I have our usual host and fearless leader, Bill.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? You dragged me in. I don't know what's going on, really, besides I'm just going to work the board. We have professionals.
Yes, we do.
Besides myself, and you.
Yes. We have from the Gotham Lights podcast, Stefanie Muniz. Sammy!
Say hello,
Hi.
Sammy. There she is. And
Hello.
also, we have a friend we haven't heard from her in a while, Sara Netzley, freelance writer for Entertainment Weekly. She goes way back with us. Sara, hey, how you been?
Hey, I've been good. I'm glad I didn't anger you, and that's why you stopped calling, you stopped writing. So, yeah, great to be back.
It was the cease and desist, I think, at first, and then it was the something about stepping on the property. That was like, But it's good to hear your voice again.
Yeah,
If you'll recall, Sarah, there's also that whole little fear of women thing.
We just don't have enough female representation on the main show.
Yeah, so we decided to double up this week.
Yeah, and see what we did here?
Yeah.
We still must have fear because we've quarantined them over into this special episode. We still haven't gotten used together over there, one at a time, one at a time.
Just one episode.
I would like to give a special shout out to our buddy Dan Redbeard Evans.
Yeah.
From the
What's he from?
Is
he from a thing?
The Deconstructing Dad podcast.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's new.
Yes, that new podcast. He wanted to be on the show tonight, but unfortunately he felt like he had to watch his kids.
Yeah,
tonight.
family.
Just all I'll say to that is it's sad to see that some of us don't have our priorities in order.
Oh, shit.
And
Wednesday after Father's Day. I mean...
And I think that's an example to you kids. If you play your cards in a certain way,
right,
and don't have kids, you can grow up to be just like me and Bill.
That's right. Exactly. I'm already there. The window is closing for me, my friend. It's still open for you, I think. Age-wise.
Bill, are you implying that you're grown up?
No, I didn't say anything about that. That implies maturity or something. That's in short supply. All right, so this is normally your house. This is your kit and caboodle. Where do you want to start, or how do you want to? You want to tell people what shows we're going to cover, and then we'll start covering them.
So yeah, we're going to cover every active thing that's been around since the fall. So we're going to go over Powerless, Gotham, Lucifer, DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
That's a mouthful.
The Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, and iZombie, which has aired every episode except its finale, which happens next week.
I think we're breaking a rule.
Yeah,
hey, it's your show.
And if we have time, we'll go over the shows that are, one of which is about to happen soon, Preacher, and a couple of other shows that may or may not be happening over the next few months.
Okay.
But basically anything live action DC TV, the same stuff I've been covering in my weekly report every week. And, I think we're going to go show by show, just cover the basics, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, maybe some hopes for next season, if there is one.
Why are some of these shows not coming back?
One for sure isn't. And it's a sad thing.
Is that our segue?
Yeah.
Is that our segue right into it, Ed?
I think that's our segue. So we're gonna kick it off with season 1 and the only season of Powerless.
Powerless.
That's my deep sigh of disappointment that this did not live to a second season.
Yeah.
Exactly. They didn't even finish airing all the episodes, did they?
No, they pulled it in the middle of its run.
That's sad news.
Yeah, they aired 9 out of 12. However, thanks to Adam West's death, which is a weird way to start a sentence, they did release another episode on YouTube, so we did get that little extra taste.
And probably the best episode as well, right? I mean, because it was a show that was a little bit rough on the edges, no?
Yeah, they switched directions after the pilot, showrunners as well. So this got off to a rough and rocky start. And I think it took the show a little while to find its voice, and unfortunately just the audience didn't stick around to see it. But every episode of that show I thought was getting better than the last. What did you gals think?
Sarah?
Yeah, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's address them by name.
Yeah,
so
true. That's true.
They're not just ladies. Like, they have names.
That's okay. Sarah, let's start with you.
Thank you, man, addressing me. I agree with you. I thought that the show just got better and better. For me, the visual was such a big part of it too. It was beautiful. The set direction, the costumes, it was all color coordinated. It was just a delight to look at, which, I mean, that's kind of beside the point story-wise, but it combined with everything else I liked about it, which was characters that kept getting stronger and better defined and a little less cliche as time went on, which sounds like an insult, but really is a compliment. I will watch Alan Tudyk in anything, and he was so terrible in the best way in this. So, yeah, I was very, very sad that it didn't get a chance to continue to develop the low-level irritation that comes with living in a city where, your apartment could just be vaporized at any moment, and the insurance company will reject the claim because it was from aliens' future, and therefore it hasn't happened yet. So,
but that's just a slice of real life right there, I think, because that's what it would be. That's just how it would be. Steph, did you watch?
What did you think?
Steph, did you watch any of it too?
I will admit that I didn't get to see all the episodes that aired, but I did watch quite a few, and I really liked it. I know a lot of people that were really hard on it, that they said it wasn't entertaining at all, but I found it really entertaining. It was good for what it was. It was a half-an-hour show that had, DC adjacent people, where you got like a hint of Batman because there was the relation to Wayne and Wayne Enterprises and stuff. So I liked that aspect of it. I also, much like Sarah, will watch anything that Alan is in because I love him as an actor and everything that he's done. So I thought it was sad that it was canceled and they didn't air it, much like another show that Alan was involved in, but we won't get into that.
He seems to be having trouble getting something to just run for a while. Even that Star Wars gig didn't really turn out to be something that had legs. Just saying. Sorry, just throwing that in there.
Hey, Con Man is doing pretty well.
That's true. That is coming back.
And that teaches you gotta produce your own stuff.
You gotta make your own stuff.
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly.
I kind of can see where if you're a DC fan and you're tuning into this, tonally this is just 180 degrees away from the movies, from most of the CW verse. It's so bright and goofy and fluffy. I can understand if you are coming in with certain expectations, but you would be wrong. This was a charming show. I mean, there's room in the DC universe for whimsy. God, I hate to use that word, but truly whimsy and weirdness. And I just wish we could have had more of that. I think season 2 could have gone interesting places.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And they were definitely throwing back to like that 70s Bronze Age. Literally anything can happen. We're just gonna do something that looks cool, not necessarily that makes sense.
Yeah, it seemed like I only caught a little bit of I don't think I watched the whole first episode, and that's probably a rough bar to judge by too.
Yeah.
The pilots, you know what I mean? But it seemed like they were willing to just kind of like do anything, like you know what I mean? But
I mean,
their hands are tied, so it's a tough thing.
I mean, also some of the characters were deep cuts. Like they brought in the Olympian at one point.
Well, you have to go deep cut. I think
you have to read DC Comics straight on for like 8 years before you even discover that's a character.
The Olympian just, he's so happy right now. He was like, someone talked about me for half an hour. It's been years since anyone talked about me at all.
But also, like, there were little threads, like Ron Funch's character in one episode, they mentioned that, he's from Atlantis, and that never comes up again.
I forgot Funches was on it. I love Funches.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what, like, Tudyk really steals that show. Like, everything, it's basically like Tudyk's the best part of this, but he's not the main focus, so that was why it struggled for a little while. But then also just Ron Funches, it's just, that man just oozes warmth.
He's so cuddly.
Yeah.
He was in another show that got canceled that I really liked.
Undateable?
Undateable, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, is there anything else about Powerless? Sad to see it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that basically, the way Sarah described it, it's the Gotham of the comedy TV realm. Everyone was tuning in to expect like Batman-related things, and it didn't happen. So.
Everybody like Marvel fans say that they want like a damage control show.
Yeah.
I have a feeling like this is what it would end up like on ABC, like sitcom-y, like behind the scenes business work stuff.
Well, also because I mean that was the original direction for this show. Is it was supposed to be an insurance company
that did claims and went to sites and
and
more
then after
ground level.
After the pilot, they felt like there wasn't enough depth in that world, so they switched it to like an R&D company, coming up with like goofy gadgets for people to use to help live in the superhero.
They needed
world.
a MacGuffin machine, is what you mean. I gotcha. I like the MacGuffin machine.
But sad it didn't work out. I want to see that first pilot to see, what
could have been
what
got changed, just for curiosity's kind of sake.
Mm-hmm. But moving on to Gotham season 3.
This is Stefanie's territory.
Yeah. So why don't you kick this off? Tell us everything that happened this season,
or some of the we'll start with
or your highlights,
wherever you want to start, wherever you feel is natural.
Well, I mean, the season 3 has definitely been a great season for Gotham. If you want to hear me talk about it, go check out Gotham Lights, because that's exactly what we do there. So many things happened. Ding. Exactly.
Plug bell.
And this is why Bill said we were the professionals. So.
There you go.
You had a lot of great character development this season. I mean, we got the introduction to the Riddler and how he's starting out and finally being announced as the way he wants to be perceived, and a lot happening with him and Cobblepot and Penguin, where Penguin, you still see that he's not quite there yet in the same regard, and hopefully that'll happen in the next upcoming season, because there is another season coming, which we're really excited about, although I'm kind of thinking it might be the last season, but who knows. But as far as that goes, they did a lot in regards to, much like the previous season, they did kind of what some other shows are doing, where they kind of broke it up into little blocks, where you had the first one was, I want to say, was it Rise of the Villains? I'm blanking.
It was Mad City.
Mad City, yes, Rise of the Villains was the last one. So Mad City and then Heroes Rise was the second one. So Mad City, of course, had to do a lot with Jarvis Tetch, who was the Mad Hatter, and his sister, and a virus that she had that would literally just turn you into a rabid, crazy person. So that was a lot of what that first chunk was dealing with, and it was funny. It's something we discussed on my podcast, where it really felt like you watched 2 different seasons. It was hard to go, season 3 is over, right? This is now season 4, and no, this is still season 3. They finished up this kind of storyline, then they had a really long break, and then they had another break, and then they came back. So.
Yeah, well, it was weird, because they took the mid-season break, and they came back for January and only did 3 episodes, and then took off for another 2 months.
Exactly, and it was really weird, and we weren't sure why they did it, and it was annoying. And I think that a lot of people just felt the same, because they thought, it's done. And then it came back, and the numbers reflected it too, where it kind of dropped a little bit, and then it came up and then held steady again. And that's kind of been its thing the whole season, was it's been consistent. It hasn't dropped too far, considering it's the 3rd season. It was hovering pretty decently at like a 1 point something. And then it did have just a slight dip after those weird breaks happened, where it finally dipped the lowest it had been, but then it came back up again. So those breaks definitely hurt it. I think that hopefully that's something they might not do, but, that's not necessarily always up to them. It could be the channel or the network or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna, next season it'll reach those 88 episodes, so it'll get guaranteed syndication. So I think it'll be just a judgment call as to whether or not they end it. I wouldn't be surprised if next season's the last season. I think they could probably go one more, but there's so much going on here. I don't know. You might just run out of steam. It's weird, because like Gotham, it's this huge cast, and you have all these big storylines, but basically it comes down to Jim and Harvey and the cops, and then Bruce and Alfred and like Selina, and then Penguin and Riddler.
Right.
And the Penguin and Riddler storyline is always really cool, and that's going back and forth. And then it feels like the Bruce storyline and the Jim storyline like go up and down as to which one's really good, and that the other one kind of suffers.
Well, I feel like they kind of ride these waves where, on their own storylines, they have like these peaks where it's like sometimes the thing they're going for, when they get to it, it works well. And other times not so much. But I feel like that's kind of like, it's part and parcel for the show. I feel like the show is where it's better now than it's been because it's so like comfortable in itself, its own skin, like in a way.
Yeah.
Like earlier seasons, it was even for the first couple. Like, it really was feeling like, do they know what they're going for? Sometimes it's like,
yeah.
Is there like a plan of any kind?
No.
Yeah, it really didn't seem that way.
Like, no.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a lot of like, what if this happens? And that's like the only thing you need to do in the writer's room.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we're going to introduce all the people right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throw them all at you.
Well, it started out, this is going to be a hard police procedural that just takes place in Gotham. And then I think they saw reactions coming in, and they were like, we got to throw in supervillains. I don't know how, but we just got to do it.
Yeah, because, and then
and
that's just...
Yeah, and it feels like it's taken like 2.5 seasons for it to finally level out. And like this season, season 2 I thought was an improvement, but was still kind of rocky. And this season I feel was better, mostly because, spoilers, we finally killed Fish.
I know where this is going.
You think the fish is finished?
Yes.
It's been flambéed?
She was stabbed through the fucking heart, Bill. It was...
Yeah, but...
It was...
Did we see the heart?
Yes.
We did?
And like she said goodbye to Oswald, and like it was a fitting ending.
Did she kiss him?
No.
No tongue?
Thank God, no.
That seemed like it was going to go there for a minute.
Well, just because that was a character who I have abhorred for so long.
Your hate is legendary.
Because it was like everything that was wrong with the show. Embodied in one person.
Embodied in this one original character that they created just for the show.
Yes.
Just for the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That doesn't...
Which is why she had no real root, rhyme, or reason.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, even with they don't know what to do with the Penguin, they kind of know who he is, what he is.
Well, also just
but with Fish Mooney, it's like, well, here's this nebulous character that can just kind of roll around.
And she's supposed to be this conniving, manipulative, but she's doing this weird Eartha Kitt impression. And it just was like, stop it. Just please stop. And they kept making her go away and then bringing her back, and it was just infuriating.
It wasn't even, it wasn't even as fun as Eartha Kitt. It was more like 1990s daytime soap diva. Like, you know what I mean? Just the bad character who comes back to town.
And rolls her R's.
Yeah. She was really over the top a lot of the time. And her costumes were kind of crazy. The hair was always crazy to match it. And she had crazy colored eyes, and it was going all over the place with her.
Just one crazy colored eye, okay? It was just one.
Unless they forgot to CG in the effect, and then it was crazy. Which did happen one time. But, it truly was. There was a lot of them not knowing what to do with her after they introduced her. And I think the plan was possibly for her to always be related to Oswald and kind of be that driving force behind him, which I think finally we saw happen at the end when she died.
Yes. Like she served her purpose.
She served her purpose. She made it possible for him to A, survive an attack and then move on, and then B, finally give him that, I'm dying now. You take over the mantle and you make them pay and continue to become what it is that you're supposed to become. So that in that aspect, they finally like, okay, we'll do this. We'll finish her off. We'll kill her to make the people happy that hate her, and give some finality to it, because it did really seem like there's no chance she's coming back. This is it for her. But it was a good ending for her, for them to finally just nix her from the show.
Mm-hmm. And what did you think of the Court of Owls? Coming in a big way in this show, which is I think the first live action appearance we've had of those characters.
Yeah, I don't know. Were they anything animated?
I think there was one. They did an animated Court of Owls movie. or they were going to at one point.
But well, for me, I only kind of dipped in and out. So I think you were probably posing that more to Steph anyway, but I had the mic, so I'm going to steal it. And I'll just leave it at that. Like, you know, I feel like it was kind of like a thing they wanted to kind of pull in because it's like a cooler, newer thing in the mythology for Batman. Yeah. And they might have wasted it, I think, because I feel like they probably could have just done a lot of that with the League of Shadows or some other nefarious kind of underworld thing because, you know, the way he learns about them later on, down the line, in the comics is like a different kind of thing. You know, if they had him do that kind of uncovering them when he was a little older, and he could have had a little bit more, maybe like, I don't know. Well, the show is just so weird. Sometimes I feel like when I want to say like if they did that, but like a little more grounded, like it would have been just perfect. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not that show, so it's wrong for me to say that.
Yeah, because what you're talking about is the way they're introduced in the comics. That only has an impact, you know, because that Batman's been around for like 10 years.
And, well, that's what I mean. So it's a surprise to him. It's like this whole...
I mean, if they could have done it a way where like just Gordon interacted with them and Bruce wasn't aware of them or like chased them like a ghost as he does in the comics.
Right.
That could have been interesting. But
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I agree kind of with Bill as far as him saying that, you know, they could have done some of this or accomplished some of this stuff with the League of Shadows, but I think it would have just been too soon. So they had to do something, put something in there that was kind of that, and then eventually to link it up to that and Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, they definitely wanted it as like a segue, stepping stone thing.
Exactly. So they thought, you know, this isn't going to be like it is in the comics where he discovers this shadowy world thing of the Court of Owls when he's already Batman. We're going to throw this in now, kind of give you that little hint of it, so that it's a nod to the Batman lore that already exists as far as the Court of Owls is concerned. But we're going to do this now because Bruce is still fairly young. He obviously is far from being Batman, so we can't do this. But this is also a good way to segue to this thing that will happen eventually in his life, and is the route that we're leading towards. So I do like that they did it that way, where this is what Gotham has been known to do for these 3 seasons now, is introduce a lot of things where some is going to be kept exactly like it is, like with the villains that we know, the Riddler and Penguin, but some things are introduced in a kind of pseudo format where they are referencing different items that are known from the Batman realm, but they're not going to be exact. They're going to be kind of things where it's a hint and a nod, and you're going to go, okay, I see what they're doing here or trying to get at, but it's going to be different because this is Gotham, and it's something that they're wanting to have it imagined this way instead of being true to the comics. And I can kind of see them doing that way.
It did lead me down a thought where, like, you know, what's kind of cool, like, I don't know if the show will go this long necessarily, but if, like, you know, they're defeated for now, or, like, you know, you really think they're gone, the Owls, typical to what they're supposed, like, this court is supposed to be, is like, oh, you never get rid of us. Like, you think you've won, or we're gone, or you've defeated us, or shut us down, but, like they come back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those kinds of things. Like, you know, you never crush the Illuminati. You know what I mean? That triangle with the eyeball is still on a dollar bill. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also kind of...
exactly. Because
Gotham also has a thing with secret societies, and this is just the next step in the progression. Season 2 with the Order of Saint Dumas, which is where we saw Azrael. Yep. This season we had Court of Owls, and they definitely left it in the finale. It's
starting to really feel like they just time shifted Bruce Wayne. They were like, everything that happens to Batman is just going to happen to you when you're 12, kid.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, it's just going to be one crazy fucking summer.
Yeah, but I think the League of Assassins is definitely going to be back next season.
So I think I think Sara is still in the room. Yes. I'm not sure.
In case you can't tell from my silence, I pieced out of Gotham in season 1 when Fish squished her eyeball. But I will say, my sister was, and she said this season the show forced her to seek out fanfic for the first time in any show ever. And that was because of the Oscar Ed relationship. She dug that so much that she was like, I want more. I need more. The Penguin Riddler.
Oh, that.
Yeah, they had a little thing going on. It was one of those.
Did they consummate that at any level? Was there a kiss?
No.
Was there? It was just a profession of like, oh, I love you.
It was
always just. Exactly. It was unrequited on the end that Oswald was the one that had all these feelings and emotions, and he didn't let anything be made aware until he finally told Ed, but by then it was too late because he had already murdered his girlfriend. So.
that was fun being at the comic shop watching nerds try to justify it. Like he doesn't really love him. Like he doesn't.
I mean, he'll suck his dick if he has to keep the charade going, but he doesn't want to do it. All right?
No, it's just because he's around. It's like he's only friends, so now he's got to put something else onto it to take it to the next level.
Is that what
right? He was a kindred spirit. Like they had kind of a similar.
No, yeah, there's a bond going on.
Yeah.
It's really probably like some mixed emotion, like brohood kind of thing, man crush.
But
hey, how's it look? Take off your pants. You know what I mean?
He's only like 30, so no one really knows what they are at that age.
Right. It's like college, right? We all experiment a little bit when we're being villains, right? It's just me and you trying to take over the world, right? How big is it? All right.
Steph, any predictions or things to look forward?
I think Sarah might be trying to say something. Somebody made a noise.
Go for it, Sarah.
Somebody made a noise, and I can't see them right now.
Based on this, I think maybe this should be a summertime catch-up for me then, because it's all on my my TiVo. So it sounds like you all liked season 3 enough that I should just plow through?
Yes, do it.
Okay.
You could probably just jump ahead.
Watch season 3.
Do it.
All right. So are we on to?
Yeah, I was gonna say, just Steph, did you have any predictions or anything to look forward to for next season?
I'm hoping that in the next season we get to see that development for Cobblepot in the same way that we saw for the Riddler, where we saw in this season has been embracing the nickname of Penguin as he hadn't before. He now has some folks on his side. He's got Mr. Freeze and Firebug, and he's got some plans. He, of course, also froze the Riddler, so I'm hoping that he doesn't stay frozen for very long. That was one of my predictions, is that maybe the first episode, but then he's back by the second. Or he better be, because I would not be happy. I like that they went back and forth through this season, but that's what I really loved, was them going back and forth. And if he's frozen, it's not like the Riddler's going to be able to do anything or antagonize Penguin. And that's where I found they had the best thing, was not so much with the relationship, was when they were really trying to outsmart each other, and the Riddler thought he'd killed Penguin, and then Penguin comes back, and instead of killing him, he freezes him. But there needs to be more. Like they're at their best as characters and as actors when they're allowed to riff off each other, and when they're allowed to
when they're rivals.
Really just
when they're rivals.
Exactly.
Yeah, when they're trying to get along or work together, even like because they have to. Yeah. It's not as good as when they're like really trying to get each other's throat. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree with that for sure.
I'm excited for Bruce's arc next
I think
season.
he's going to be still stuck up on the roof.
He didn't get down. He climbed up the ladder. He was afraid of heights. He's like, it's not working.
So high up here.
This is a lot higher than Wayne Manor.
I'm sorry I stabbed you.
I think it's cool that he's finally discovered his calling, and I want to see him become a detective, because I think that's the one thing that the movies have ignored.
Right.
Is that Batman is the world's greatest detective, and I want to see him develop and learn those skills next season.
And don't forget.
Yeah, and now that
I mentioned it, and it's a spoiler there, Sarah, but he fucking stabbed Alfred. I was surprised that they did that, because I was watching.
I was surprised too.
I was like, granted, you can argue that they only really did it because the ecto cooler juice was sitting there in the pool.
He was brainwashed,
and he was brainwashed, but I don't think he was too brainwashed at that point. He was a little bit brainwashed, but not that much. I don't know. I think that I kind of was very surprised that they did it. And do you think he was brainwashed that much at that point? Was I missing that? that he's supposed to be. He's really under the influence at that moment.
I think he was in too deep.
Yeah. Now I don't like it anymore. I want it to be like a genuine thing, like showing you like some aspect of a true darkness within him, instead of him being like, I think I'll like, you know, he seems like a kid who burns ants with a magnifying glass all day.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You know?
Well, also they did it because it was the exact middle of the 2-part finale.
Well, that's
So they had to have something to be worried about over the commercial break.
Exactly. They had to shock you with something.
Fair enough. All right.
On to Lucifer, season 2.
He's the devil.
Yes, he is.
Or one of them or something.
Mm-hmm. I like this show because it follows Fox's thing of random person, different scenario, has some type of ability, and they decide to use it to help detectives solve crimes.
Help a coroner. Help some coroner. Like, you know what I mean? Some other person who shouldn't be solving crimes. Solve crimes.
Sarah, you wanna start off with your thoughts on season 2 of Lucifer?
Season 2 for me begins and ends with Tricia Helfer. The guest star casting in this season was so spot on. I thought they introduced Lucifer's mother, and it's Tricia Helfer, and her entrance is set to Lucifer playing All Along the Watchtower on his fancy piano, which just made me like, I love this so much. Referencing.
So much inside referencing that no one will get except me.
So I was on board for that, and for me that was the highlight of the whole season was her performance, the relationship with her and Lucifer, and can we trust her, and he wants to trust her, he doesn't want to trust her, is she using him, is she not, can she figure out how to be a human, how fantastic can she look in every single outfit, that okay. And then they brought in Timothy Ahmedson as God, maybe possibly, and he was perfect and wonderful. So like I said, for me, the guest stars, this is a show that I've always liked in spite of the premise. I don't really like Chloe. And if you need to disconnect my call right now, that's fine. But the law enforcement detective side of things, even her and Lucifer's relationship, I'm not invested. I'm in it for Tom Ellis, and then this season for Tricia Helfer, for Maze, for Amenadiel, for all of that. So I loved all the angelic. And, you know, if the police stuff takes a back seat, I'm okay with that. So that was my thought. And also, thank God they saved Dr. Linda. I had no idea how invested I was in Dr. Linda until the end, but I was like, if they kill her, so God.
So true.
I'm like, yeah. I'll watch this one.
Like, you guys take a break. Yeah, you guys take a break. Sarah and I will just talk about Lucifer. It'll be fine.
Go for it.
But it's funny, because I completely and utterly agree. I like Chloe, but it's definitely all about Tom Ellis. The dude starts playing a piano, and it's,
that's all it takes, huh?
It's all it takes, but he's
act,
fantastic.
Speak. He doesn't say anything.
Kind of no.
Well, those are
kind
no.
Of no.
You just
kind of
really
no.
no. You could just look at him and it's just fine, and then he speaks and acts on top of it, and it's amazing. So
nice.
He has an accent. I mean, how much more?
That's all. That's all it takes, right?
Yep.
It's a great show for what it is.
They're wasting their accents on The Walking Dead. I'll just say that.
Oh my God.
He is charming. He is charming. Even
Ed's like, I'm captivated. There's a reason he's playing, the devil, or Lucifer rather, or whichever have you. I don't know the hierarchy, the official hierarchy. Is there a devil above him? Is he like it? Is he the shiz?
He is the devil.
Okay,
he is
fair
Lucifer
enough.
Morningstar. He's king of hell.
He's the dude. Okay,
yes.
Just want to make double check.
He's the dude.
Gotcha.
Son of God.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephanie, I know that you're with me in this because we also both watch Supernatural. Do you ever have to sit back and think, okay, this Lucifer does this, that Lucifer does that, this Lucifer does this? It's hard. It's hard to have all Lucifers in our head.
No, but
Too many Lucifers.
I could relate to that though, because that's like you having the same, the same kind of character basically on two completely different things. It's like, okay, yes, I guess you can do that over here. The devil I know would never do that. Or he doesn't have that ability, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's like
you have a long running show like Supernatural that also deals with the devil and with angels and supernatural stuff, and then you've got Lucifer, which a lot of it is similar. So I loved that you could see things that were not necessarily connected, but that where they went to the same sources, it seemed like, for their lore, for their research and things like that, and then yet they could still put other different spins on it. And I do like seeing that in shows where you can get a little bit something different from kind of the same background or the same storyline.
The same wiki page. There's only one page for Lucifer on the wiki, but I did see the episode where
Lucy wiki,
the Lucy wiki,
Okay.
Lucypedia. I did see the one where
You saw the one where he was on trial?
he goes to hell.
Oh,
Or he goes.
yeah,
He
yeah.
gets stuck back there,
Mm-hmm.
and the mom's got to go get him.
Yes.
Or someone's got to go get. Was
yeah.
it her?
Yeah, he gets trapped.
Right.
He gets accidentally trapped in hell, and
Yeah.
mom has to go in and pull him
I
out.
remember having bones to pick with it in the moment, but that's like me when I watch television. I always have structure issues with TV. But I was digging it. It was some cool visuals like I kind of hadn't seen before, and it was a different kind of play on things. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I was enjoying it.
Admit it, you liked his accent.
That's what kept me there. It's like, I want to hear him speak again.
Yeah, and then it's funny. You show up and his brother is Michael Imperioli,
And that's what kind of pulls me out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. Imperioli pulls me right the fuck out.
but he was only in there for a little bit. Like it was
all
one,
it takes. No,
1.5 episodes, maybe.
And that's what's great because I forget that he's there.
Well, it's the same thing with him. Even when he was on Sopranos, the only thing that kept going in the back of my head was I thought you said you was all right, Spider.
The only thing I thought about him during the entire run of Sopranos is when is this kid going to get shot? How come this kid hasn't gotten shot yet? Of everybody who's catching a bullet for no good reason, and people who catch them for good reasons, this kid is still breathing. All right.
How do we get on Sopranos?
Imperioli.
But I would have to agree with you guys. I love the stuff about angels and demons and trying to get back into hell and is Charlotte crazy or not? And the procedural stuff.
In this season, trying to get back into heaven.
Yes, that's right. Trying to get back into heaven. And the procedural stuff to me just seems like a way to, because we have to have a 45-minute, we have to have, another half of the episode. And sometimes it was, because I remember in my reports, usually like I spend one sentence on the murder.
Right.
And then the whole rest is
it's about
just,
the B storyline.
Yeah.
Right. There's A, B stuff that they do on these shows.
Yeah.
One of them's always got to go.
Yeah. And also Maze this season is
she was so great.
Is
Loved her.
hysterical. Just because she's the devil's muse. That's
the short blonde?
No, this is the
the dark-haired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she
That
decided.
short blonde with the glasses, that's Chloe.
No, that's
No,
that's Dr.
That's Dr. Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chloe's the detective who he hangs with.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm exasperated.
Yes.
Right.
So
The brunette that wears skin-tight leather and kicks ass.
Yes.
That's Maze.
Yeah, the fact that she decided to move in with Chloe and Trixie and kind of do the soccer mom thing.
The names on this fucking show.
But
it's LA, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, just trying to see her blend into suburban lifestyle.
Right. Okay.
was very fun.
The episode where she takes the child trick or treating. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that holiday went over great on this one.
Yes.
Or just all of her like tips of advice to Chloe on how she should parent or what she should do, or just even dating or cleaning up around the house. Chloe just goes, no, none of that is a good idea, and because Maze is always just wanting to resort to like violence or destruction, or just
some feudal era type.
She's found a job as a bounty hunter, so that's all that she's like. You want me to beat somebody up? You want me to go, like,
Right.
hunt this guy down? I'll do that. I'll do that. So
That's her first answer.
It's
for
great.
So this season left off. Charlotte ends up getting thrown into a random void by Lucifer.
Okay.
Because
you can do that.
he thinks she's too dangerous for heaven.
Okay, that's a good reason.
And then he ends up getting knocked out and wakes up in the middle of a desert with his wings. Start with Sarah. Predictions for next season. Where do we go from there?
my only thought as those credits rolled were how disappointed I'm going to be when there is no Trisha Helfer next season. I cannot overemphasize how much I enjoyed her and the machinations there. So next season, he and Chloe had that kind of cooling down period when he found out that she was created by his father to manipulate him, Lucifer, and so he kind of put the brakes on that relationship. And so I'm curious if they'll remember that, if they'll try to rebuild that once he's back from, back in LA. Mm-hmm. But with mom gone, with dad presumably still in heaven, I'm not quite sure what we're going to see. I hope they have good ideas because I so enjoyed season 2. I hope they can continue to top it. But if he comes back with his wings, interesting. Let's work with that.
Yeah. If he does have that power set, and if he decides to stretch those legs and how he uses it, or if he's just in some kind of dream world, you never know with these finales. It's going to be a theme we're going to see over the night. These finales can leave you in some misleading places. But
they wave it away the first 5 minutes. Oh, it was all a dream. It's cool.
Yeah.
He wakes up and it's fine.
Is it misleading places, or is it just that they come back from that break and they're like, oh shit, what did we do? How do we undo that? Can we possibly undo the thing where everyone died? Yeah, sure, absolutely. That's why we did it, because we knew we would just undo it.
Isn't that the point of season finales? Is just to kind of leave you with a sense of just how the heck did this happen, and where are they going to go from here, and all that. But I personally hope that it wasn't a dream.
Oh, no.
That something did happen to him, because the whole significance of him having his wings back is that he cut them off,
and he can fly now. That LA traffic,
he got rid of them, so
LA traffic no longer an issue.
But then he's not going to be able to drive that sweet car so I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, the cutting of the wings was such an intentional rejection of dad, heaven, what he's been. So for him to get those back, I'm assuming that's going to be a big driving force if it sticks. As
it's funny that it's like this, it feels like it's not that religious of a show, but Satan just got his wings back, Just saying, you know what I mean? But Bible stuff, we won't get into it. It just feels like, it just feels like it's like watery a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
They just kind of dodge it, you know what I mean? But that's what's approachable about the show.
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing where Lucifer isn't really a big part of the Bible. Most of that comes from Paradise Lost.
That's true. He's kicked out. That's true. He's kicked out, and
yeah. So I think there's still a lot of fun to be had there without being sacrilegious.
It's a big open space right there to fill. I got you.
Yeah. So cool. That's stuff to look forward to. I think that wraps up Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
Now we come to DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2.
Legends of Mañana.
Yes.
And from here on out, I get really quiet.
As do I. Unless I'm being critical for no good reason.
And this is where they start silently judging us or not so silently judging us for our taste in TV.
Yes.
Yes. We're into the CW now. The next 5 shows are all CW shows.
Mm-hmm.
So the big bad this season was the Reverse Flash and his Legion of Doom, which is Damien Dark and later Malcolm Merlyn.
Is that Legion of Doom, or is that like the Gang of Mischief?
Well, the Legends called them the Legion of Doom. So
all right, fine.
So even though I don't think any of them were in the Super Friends,
right? That's you couldn't get Solomon Grundy.
No.
Was there rights control issues with Solomon Grundy? Who's?
Yeah, no, but Solomon Grundy hasn't shown up in the Arrowverse yet. That was the thing.
Oh, you have to establish yourself.
That we've already. Each of these was a big bad for a whole season on another show.
Ah. So to hear together,
yeah,
they can't possibly be defeated.
Oh, and
Gotham's gonna get him first.
Probably.
Yeah, no, they did hint.
They did.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Butch. They made a reveal that Butch is actually Cyrus Gold.
Those sons of bitches.
Yep.
Those sons of bitches.
So
gotcha. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay.
I went down a parallel timeline.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we had two new legends join the team.
Mm-hmm.
Historian Nate Haywood.
Yes.
Who somehow got zapped with powers and became Citizen Steel.
Oh, that guy. Okay, I've seen him around.
Yes. And Amaya Jiwe, who is the World War II version of Vixen, the grandmother of the Vixen we saw in the previous season of Arrow.
So she's like really old. She's in a wheelchair?
No.
She's not currently a grandmother?
They picked her up in 1942.
I'm sorry. I was going to eat my
This
cookie.
is a time travel show, Bill. Time travel.
She's seeking revenge.
Sounds like math.
Yeah, because they killed a bunch of Justice Society members. We got the Justice Society this season. This show is bonkers.
I'm just going to eat my cookie.
All over the DC universe. We got the Justice Society. We got Camelot 3000. Jonah Hex showed up again.
Again?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm talking too much. Sarah, bail me out.
I enjoyed you mentioned the MacGuffin before. I enjoyed the MacGuffin of the Legion of Doom is trying to assemble the Spear of Destiny, so the legends have to race and collect all the different pieces of the Spear of Destiny. It ends with them leaving behind members of the Justice League to safeguard it at different points in history. So I enjoyed all the different. I mean, it's a time travel show. I dig the time travel stuff, and they really had a nice mechanism for saying, here's how we live in this era, and here's how a hero is going to exist in this era where it's not maybe comfortable for everybody to be. So I enjoyed the MacGuffin of the season, which is the spear, the race to get the spear, who's going to get the spear once they have the spear, what's going to happen with the spear. I just said spear 18 times.
Yes.
But I enjoyed that very much. I thought taking Rip Hunter out of the equation for the first half of the season and then having him show up amnesiac and then evil, that was hard to watch. Oh, Rip, no.
Yeah.
Evil Rip was tough. But you get to explore the different colors of the other team members, watching Sarah become the leader and watching Mick kind of grapple with that, and I enjoyed all that.
Oh, you mean Mick slowly becoming delusional and hallucinating?
I enjoyed the crap out of that.
Yes. Okay. And that's the one thing where this is one thing where a show will take a hallucinations and use it against the character, because at the end the guy he's hallucinating is actually alive and shows up and starts talking to him, and he just thinks he's not there.
He's still being fucked with.
Yeah.
That's good though. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah, and I think the time travel stuff was the Rip. I think my favorite episode was the Star Wars episode where Rip shows up.
Mine too.
Yeah, and he thinks that he's a film director in the '60s, and his AD is George Lucas, and he basically makes him quit filmmaking altogether, and then the team has to get him to make the.
Is this before or after the prequels?
Oh no, this isn't. This isn't like '67.
Because there could be a good version of this.
Yeah, no, but the whole premise is that George Lucas has to start wanting to make films again so he can make Star Wars and inspire Steel and Adam not to be stupid.
Okay,
and actually get their powers.
So here's what I need to know from a story like this. Did anyone do anything that directly gave him an idea for Star Wars, or an idea in Star Wars? Like, did he see a Tin Man? You know what I mean? Or did he was there a laser sword somewhere?
Oh, we got a trash compactor scene.
Okay.
The Legion of Doom surrounded him and whispered in his ear, Jar Jar Binks.
Now it all makes sense. Those damn Legends of Tomorrow. So some other highlights from the season.
I liked the time aberration that was Dr. Stein's daughter. That he had a daughter in one timeline, and when he realized that, he didn't want to undo her, which is kind of what they've been tasked with, is undoing these time aberrations. And that was a great character struggle. I thought that one of the encounters that he had with his younger self caused his younger self to, and then there's a daughter. Do as I say, not as I do. Like, we have to stop these time aberrations, but not when it's my kid, who I only met 20 minutes ago, but this is my kid. I really enjoyed that. And anything that gives that actor something to do, I'm all about. So
I was going to say,
he's a good actor.
I was going to say, ignoring the time travel rules is a recurring theme in these DC shows.
Well, let's just hold off on that until we get to Flash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And, speaking of, multiple shows.
I was just thinking about this.
The big culmination of the giant 4-show crossover, which was really 3.5.
I realized it wasn't. I didn't see it in the notes. I kind of realized.
Yeah, it happened on Legends of Tomorrow, and you know what? I got an Avengers movie where I saw a bunch of heroes fight together, and now we got to see about a dozen different DC characters all fighting aliens at the same time, and it was really,
pretty good for TV, man.
Look, it was really cool. Like I did not cry.
But you look like you might right now.
I did not cry.
Thinking about it, regaling. You're getting all nostalgic about a thing that happened like 2 months ago.
I got a little glassy.
I will say that I remember when it happened, I had some bones to pick. But in the end, I think you make a good point there. Like, they did it. It happened. If they do it again, it'll be better. I mean, that kind of thing. And it's like, first episode or whatever, first parts, but it got better as it went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. I mean, nothing like it done before. So, how perfect do you want it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm not retracting anything I said previously. I'm just saying now, in hindsight, I'll be nice.
It was awesome.
Did you say if they're gonna do another crossover? I mean, come on, it's the CW. You know they're gonna do another crossover.
Yeah. Good point. Sarah?
I thought in the universe of the Berlantiverse shows on the CW, probably Legends of Tomorrow had the most consistently strong season. The other shows had great, they had some highlights, they had some lowlights, but I don't know, I kind of thought Legends of Tomorrow was just consistently really quite good when compared with some of the other Rocky Flash shows. So, I don't know. Ed, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the shortened season, they only did 16 episodes. I think that helped out a bit because there was less.
You don't have to have the filler, yeah.
Yeah, less room for fluff. Plus, just the fact that they have so many characters to deal with, I think that kind of forced them to really bear down. So there wasn't really any room to relax or space stuff out. And yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think that was tighter. And now looking at next season, I'm seeing people saying we're gonna get Commandy, because they ended up in this weird futuristic place with some strange architecture. So I don't know what that means. If we do get Commandy the Lost Boy, I think every Jack Kirby fan is gonna bust a nut,
or just freak out and be angry.
Well,
Oh, it's DC fans. They tend to not be as nitpicky as other fans. Maybe?
No, you're right. You're probably right.
It's a fandom.
Yeah,
that's how it goes. Half of it loves it, half of it hates it. But it's a pretty bold move, though. Mm-hmm. But it is one of those things like, where else would it ever show up?
That's true.
And that's what's been great about the show. Overall, it's like some of these things, it's other characters and concepts and things like, where else would this ever happen?
And the fact that they haven't encountered Sergeant Rock yet baffles me. Because that guy's got to be around the corner somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So I think
I really have to say, though, that it's good that there's only 16 episodes because that means I can catch up and then jump back in for season 3.
Yes.
That's true.
Because I really did like season 1. I watched all of season 1, and I will admit that I watched it for Rip because I'm a big fan of Arthur Darvill from Doctor Who, and I know Rory. So I watched it for him, but then I really like Wentworth Miller, and I'm blanking on other guy's name who played
Dominic Purcell.
Yes, exactly. I love those two. I never really watched much of Prison Break, but I loved those two in Legends. So I was fans of them. Never really liked Canary that much. Didn't like her in Arrow, which I also didn't really watch much. But I liked the first season, and then I kind of fell off. I didn't have the drive to watch the second season when it started, and then when I started to hear things that were coming out of the second season, like what Sarah said, what they did with Rip, that made me want to watch it even less because I'm like, no, don't do that to Rip.
He was one. I
think that was. I know. So, but then I think I need to set that aside. It's like it's not. I shouldn't just watch it for him.
Yeah.
I think I will go. I will watch it and catch up on that and be back in for season 3.
Yeah, and I think even if you watch the crossover episode and like the last two or three episodes, like that finale, I think that could be enough of a setup. If you did want to skim, which you shouldn't.
Well, I told Sarah that she needed to watch all of Gotham season 3, so I will watch all of Legends 2.
Okay.
Should we be accountability partners? Checking how we're doing with our TV homework?
Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can make this a trend because we got 4 more shows.
and we're at an hour already.
All right.
We're creeping on it.
We may split this into 2. We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So next up is Supergirl.
Supergirl. Strange girl from another planet.
Season 2.
Okay, I know I talked about the guest stars on Lucifer, but come on, Supergirl season 2, best guest stars ever.
Oh, just even just
it's
the guest stars.
Who's who of every other Supergirl.
Just the guest stars in the first 2 and the last 2 episodes.
Well,
who did we have? Because I missed out. So
we had Superman.
So did I.
Well, we'll start with President of the United States, Linda Carter.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's badass. I didn't know about that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And, we also had Dean Cain come back as Jeremiah Danvers.
Who?
Her adoptive father.
Gotcha. I kind of had a feeling.
Yes, and we had Terry Hatcher as Rhea, Queen of Daxam, and her husband Largand was played by Kevin Sorbo.
Although, if I may, that was a really sad underutilization of Kevin Sorbo. He showed up, he kind of frowned a little bit, and then he was murdered.
Yeah,
and
it's almost like it would have been better without Sorbo, which is normally how I live my life.
Yeah,
I live my life.
You don't bring in Sorbo and then kill him.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying you just don't bring in Sorbo.
Okay, let's not go that far.
Okay, so here's my
Hercules.
Here, so the big thing I had with this show is I think a huge hole was left when Callista Flockhart decided to not do the Supergirl thing this season, and she
and the reason for that, they moved production to Canada, and she didn't want to leave Love Nest with Harrison Ford. I do not blame the woman. That's fine. Stay with Harry.
Keep him from flying planes. Stay there.
Exactly.
Did your mother tell you to keep an eye on me, kid? Let's get drunk. How old are you now?
That was a dark interpretation.
But I think it was the
do you ever see Harrison Ford when David Blaine comes to the house and does magic, one of David Blaine's tricks, and he's like, "Get out of my house," and you know that he means it. Harrison Ford did not like magic. He's like, "I can't explain it. I don't know how you did. Get out of my house." Turn it to Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino. He's like, "Get off my lawn." I'm sorry. That's not what we're here for.
No, but back to Cat Grant. I think when she shows up in the last 2 episodes, you realize how big of a hole she left in her wake, and because she just
the energy, the spark, the dialogue, all of it in that. It was the second to last episode of the season when she came back. Oh, she just elevated everything around so much.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was. I hope they kind of left it open as to whether or not she'd be sticking around next season. So
it'll be like this season was, where it was kind of open.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, also, they didn't know when they filmed that finale that they were going to move networks.
No. I mean, I get that too, but I'm just saying that. I mean,
and I will say, in her absence, to have James Olsen try to fill that void, I'm sorry, but he is a black hole of charisma. That is just not... Yeah. He is not a character. He put on a mask. He became a vigilante. He became Guardian. Still didn't care. Still not interested.
Because they didn't really. There was really nothing for him to do in that role, and then he just has so much free time. He decides, let me freelance as a vigilante, and that didn't really go anywhere either.
The one thing they did well was give Wynn better purpose, I will say, to have him at the DEO. That gives him a little bit more to do. That made Wynn a little more interesting. The alien girlfriend, that made him a little more interesting. So they did pretty well by Wynn this season, but poor James.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, that's probably proof of that, like Jimmy Olsen should probably just be like a Jimmy Olsen type. Like you've got this character where like you've made like he's that type. For him to that's against type basically in a way. I mean, granted, I don't watch the show, but I'm just kind of going with the classic archetype. And it sounds like if he's a black hole of charisma. Somebody here
maybe that was mean.
Yeah, well, it's just because they kind of
sounds like a stiff.
They kind of had a little love triangle going on in the first season, and that was completely abandoned. So it's like, why is he here?
Okay, fair enough.
Which brings you to my next question.
Why was he there?
Well, no, Sarah, were you pro Mon-El or anti Mon-El? Was the whole Kara Mon-El relationship a good thing or a bad thing?
And has the doctor said it cleared up yet? It sounded something like I'm like, you didn't know what the hell Ed was talking about.
In my role as a freelancer for EW, I filled in on Supergirl a couple of times, Supernatural too, but Supergirl a couple of times, and I waded in not really knowing the politics of the pro Mon-El, anti Mon-El, and I wrote my recap, and I was positive about Mon-El, and you would think that I had like murdered puppies in front of these people.
Oh wow, it's a big thing. It's a big split.
So anti Mon-El. I like him. I enjoyed his arc. I enjoyed his, he's a Daxamite. He's a party guy. Spoilers again, guys. Sorry, secret prince. Not so secret. We all knew he was a prince, clearly. He starts to realize, oh, this is not a good way to live. Oh, this is maybe how I can be helpful. I liked that arc. I did not think his story ate Kara's story, but I know a lot of people were frustrated that she became girlfriend, she became sad, she became, all of those things that sad girlfriends become. I didn't see it. I enjoyed it. I thought that she became strong, positive, sunny, and she grew a little bit too. I liked him. I like them. Sara Netzley on Twitter. Come at me.
Yeah, I liked him as a character. Just kind of this quirky little jerk. And I thought his storyline was cool. I just didn't buy the relationship because I just think he's wrong for her.
Okay, can I be creepy? They're dating in real life, so something tells me he's going to be back next season. That's
fine.
So.
Well, they've.
Did I just throw you for a what?
Yeah, well, they put lead into the atmosphere, which made it intolerable for him to stay there, so he can't be on Earth anymore. But
she can just flap her arms and it's fine. The lead will disperse.
Well, he wandered into a portal.
Now, why do I feel like putting lead in the atmosphere wasn't good for anybody?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't care what, it only has to be 0.00001% to affect him, but the rest of us will be fine.
Again,
but in 20 years, we'll have tumors the size of golf carts.
We're taking an element from Silver Age, Bronze Age.
Sometimes that's not the best idea. You know what they thought about radiation? I mean, come on. It was good for you, kid.
Yeah, no.
Cigarettes and radiation. Yeah, you're gonna go far.
People used to take mercury as a cure, so come on.
Well, because the other thing that because I always knew Mon-El as a member of the Legion of Superheroes. So him showing up here was they're not doing that. Right. That's the one thing in DC Comics that's above my head. Over my head is just
that whole thing.
It's impenetrable.
Lightning lad.
But he goes into that portal, and I would not be surprised if he somehow travels back to the past, pulls Kara, and we spend a couple episodes with her in the Legion next
in the
season.
future,
in the 31st century.
30 something. Some Buck Rogers.
I have to say,
go ahead.
Portals are big right now, aren't they? There's a portal this show. There was a portal in Lucifer. Supernatural had a portal. It's portals are the thing.
So hot right
portals
now.
Are in.
There's a big sale. There's been a big sale on portals this season. It's a big trend.
I want to get free. But no, Ed, I'm with you. You can't have. I don't know. You can't have Supergirl happy in a relationship because that's not interesting, right? That's just not what TV lets us have. Is here to have stable, steady relationships. So
Please.
Of course, that breakup is going to happen. But
it's the CW.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, she's got a point. Where does it happen anymore? On sitcoms, and they're just because they're the mom and dad. That's the only place. or I mean, not to sidetrack too much, but it's a thing where you don't see it too much anymore.
Well, now you get together in season 1, and then season 2 you have to break up because we need to raise the stakes.
It's not Breaking Bad; it's breaking up.
Yeah,
and it was 6 seasons of watching them hate each other slowly. Okay.
Here's a deep cut. The showrunners of Ed, starring Tom Cavanaugh, who we'll discuss when we get to Flash, it was all about him getting the girl, right? And they joked that by season 5, the only thing keeping those two apart would be like a literal crater full of alligators with one on one side and one on the other side. So that's how TV, I think, so often treats relationships, right? We can't have them together. We have to throw something in their path. So I'm assuming we'll have more romantic foibles, which is one of the things that I think people didn't like about this season was it was a lot of Alex is sad, Win is, Kara is sad, nobody will love me, what's happening? So if we could get a little past, that would be.
Are we getting her?
She was breaking up a little bit there, Sarah. Say that last line again.
Win
is sad, everybody's sad.
Oh, yeah, so Kara's sad, Win is sad, Alex is sad, everybody's sad about their romantic relationships. If we could have a little less moping next season, that would be fine. I would embrace a little more action and a little less sad ice cream on the couch. Because that's what I'm doing when I'm watching, so like...
You don't want to relate. No, that makes total sense, because I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about Supergirl, which I never really had the time to add in another show. It conflicted with Gotham to begin with, and then I just, it wasn't on my radar, but I heard people that did watch it, did like it. I always found it very amusing when Ed would put it in the recaps and say, Monel and John, and it was fun to hear the names.
Your
so that was always
so great, by the way.
And I realize it sounded a little negative there. I thoroughly enjoyed this season. I love Kara as a character. She's optimistic. She's sunny. She fights for the right reasons. She's a good person. I really admire the way they've written her and the way they script a lot of it, and the Alex-Maggie relationship, Alex coming out, falling in love, that has been, I mean, it's so great for representation. It was so beautifully handled. So there's a lot to applaud Supergirl for. I didn't want people to think I didn't enjoy it. I really genuinely did. I just do think there was a little bit of mopey relationship-y things. So if we can get into more punching next season, sure.
Right, and much to your point, that's entirely it. Is you have a character like Supergirl, you want her to be a strong female character that if they do too much of that relationship type stuff, which the CW has been known to do,
I mean, it is CW.
Exactly. So you're gonna have that, but you don't want too much of it, because then it kind of negates the fact that she's gonna be that strong female role model that girls will look towards to have their, this is Supergirl, this is my superhero, this is the girl that I can relate to, it'll empower me to be stronger and be braver and all of these things. And that's what a lot of people were saying about this series was, finally, little girls will have a show of their own that they can look to and say, I'll get to now have someone that I can talk about and relate to, and this is really cool.
The balance, the balance though thing with the relationship stuff has always been like, it's a tough thing for shows. I feel like, making that work where it doesn't feel like, okay, how long is this going to last before they pull the rug out? It's like, it's a different animal now. I feel like the last one that kind of like got it and kind of pulled it off right was like when Buffy would have like relationships before, like, her near the end when every relationship was just fucking wacky from Jump Street. But like, they would go for a little while before they fell apart.
Yeah.
Like, like it wouldn't be like, hurdle after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. Well, no, maybe a few hurdles.
You'd have a 3 or 4 episode arc before
it all went to shit. Like they'd have a little bit of time together before it all, like you found out he was evil. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, now we want you to know he's evil from Jump Street, and now they kiss, like, 5 minutes after meeting each other. It's like, all right, slow it the fuck down, would you?
Yeah. But, I mean, back to what you were saying in terms of, like, positivity and positive influences, I think a perfect example of that is how Henry Cavill's Superman just disappoints me and doesn't work. And Wonder Woman, I thought, is exactly on target for what they should be doing. And I think Supergirl is very reflective of that.
Right.
just in terms of Superman, Supergirl, those characters are all about positivity, hope, inspiration, and I do think that they are still continuing with that.
But I would remiss if I didn't mention my extreme disappointment that you had Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain guest starring on the same show, and they never appeared on screen together.
Yeah. Well, it was just the way those characters were set up. I didn't really see.
But you know what? Are they both?
There was no way to do it, but I don't care. You make it happen.
Well, here's the thing.
But at least they were both in the show.
Are they both still alive as characters on the show?
No.
Okay.
Not so much.
No.
All right. Well.
Oh wait, they killed Kevin Sorbo and they killed Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
Well, they killed Terry Hatcher.
2 of those 3.
Terry Hatcher was probably like, fuck. You know, I finally get a gig after a while.
And the other thing I'd say is they brought Superman in, and they cast Tyler Hoechlin from
Teen Wolf.
Probably is from Teen Wolf as Superman Eric Hale. That is his official name. Mm-hmm. And he was a great Superman. He was the opposite Henry Cavill Superman. My money,
he smiled like that right there. He wins.
He looked like he enjoyed helping people. I don't think his dad let himself be killed in a tornado, as his origin story.
Is this one of the calls that I got from you? Didn't I get a call from you, like in the middle of the night, or a text or something from you? Like no, but they got him right. It's you don't have to like Supergirl or the show. They got Superman right. I think it's something like that.
Yeah. Okay. It was pretty much. Yeah, he smiled.
Because I'll get these calls from you once in a while, where it's like for no good reason. You just have to let me know that you're happy about a thing.
I'm sorry. Getting Superman right is a really good reason for a late night phone call. Hello.
No, not well.
I think so.
Right, well, I guess I'm the crazy one.
There hasn't been a they haven't gotten that guy right on TV like Superman.
No,
since Dean Cain. Since
animation.
That's like 20 years, man. 20 years. I've been jonesing for a good.
And
Superman.
Dean Cain's like,
Yeah, I mean, really want to go back. It's
Superboy or nothing.
It's Gerard Christopher and Superboy, man. I was talking about this with Bill today before we recorded. Just that show, man. Oh, I miss it.
Ed bleeds red and blue. Let me tell you. And a little bit of yellow.
Just where I mentioned I live like 3 hours away from Metropolis, Illinois, which has the museum and the statue, and it's heaven on earth, and you guys should all come.
I mean, we'll be happy to stay at your house. That's so nice of you to offer for all of us to stay.
Everybody, hello, yes.
You can sleep in the library.
We'll be there soon.
So, how have you been? I'm going to take it you've been there, Sarah. Then
I have, yeah. It's been a couple of years, but they have the Superman Festival, right. And the year we went, they had Lou Ferrigno. They had who's the really old Lois Lane?
Noel Neal.
Noel Neal, yes. Adam West was there. May he rest. They have a weightlifting competition. They have, everybody's in costumes. It's pretty fantastic. So
it all sounds great.
Yeah,
yes.
It does.
I recommend.
Highly recommended.
And so yeah, I think that covers Supergirl season 2.
Did you guys project into next season?
Yeah, next season we want it to still be inspirational.
Well, I think that's an easy.
Yeah.
Easy mark for this.
Can I get like betting odds on if Cat Grant sticks around?
I'm guessing we get her for 6 episodes, sprinkled throughout.
Okay.
What do you say?
I think that's about right. I think she'll be around more than last because she's got to kick James out of his job. Like that, you need to give him something else to do because Guardian, I don't think, is cutting it. And Snapper Carr is good.
Yep. Oh yeah, we need to talk about Carr's career as a journalist, which, okay.
Yeah, but it's one note. It's like you're doing a bad job, and then the episode you did an okay job.
I couldn't expect the job you did. So hopefully we see maybe better, more nuanced depictions of her job at Catco, or else much, much less of her job at Catco. One or the other.
Yeah.
But he struggles to please tough boss, pleases tough boss. It's a little one note. I agree. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see a little bit more of the alien bar. I'd love to see more of John and the Martians. I will say I'm a little concerned because the actress who plays Maggie Sawyer is not coming back full time. She got engaged to Alex at the end of this season. That's a very happy lesbian couple. I was hoping we could have a little bit, more happiness. But if she's not back on the reg, I don't know what that is going to look like.
Well, she,
so
what?
Well, this is where being a comics fan kind of interferes, because you're right, it is a great relationship. But in the back of my head, I'm like, no, Maggie Sawyer is supposed to marry Batwoman. So,
I mean, I wouldn't want to take away Batwoman's hat. So, but they got.
You okay there, Mel?
Yeah, bad move. It's a different.
He was surprised by the whole Batwoman thing.
Yeah. I was taking it back. It's a whole different Earth, though. You gotta remember that. It's just a whole different Earth.
I know. And she's Hispanic and not blonde. But
I mean, it's a very different Earth.
But so yeah, and I'd like to see more Martian Manhunter. See more John Jones.
John Jones.
That's how I pronounce it.
Give us one good John Jones.
John Jones.
I love the way you do it. For whatever reason, it sounds like someone messes with the tape.
It's because there's apostrophe there.
I know why you're doing it.
Yeah, and I always feel like there's meant to be like a break, but then evidently no, it's just meant to be John Jones.
Yeah, everybody else, even in the industry, no one says it like you.
Yeah.
But I
tried the other name, I couldn't do it.
I want you to do it for the rest of your life, though. Like if you ever break into the biz. And it's like, we're talking about Ed O'Hare, the new writer on Martian Manhunter.
John Jones is a very, very interesting...
The fans will hate you. Half the fans are like, that pretentious prick. And they're like, no, you got to get to know him. He's being funny. All right. Ooh, wait, that was a lot of stuff. So much stuff. We had to break it into 2 episodes. This session went nearly 3 hours, and that's just too much for your ears to handle in one shot. So if you want to hear Ed, Sarah, Steph, and myself continue the conversation and get into Flash, Arrow, iZombie, and then some upcoming shows like Preacher's coming back, and then there's other shows down the pike like Black Lightning and a whole bunch of other stuff that they're working on for DC. Find the second half of this episode. It should be in the feed that you're using to listen to this now. Go check it out. It's a lot more fun, and we really want you to go listen to that because we did it for you. And that was nice of us, right? See you over there.
The Wicked Theory podcast is heard live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern until whenever. Just go to mixler.com/wicked-theory. Mixler is MIXLR. Sign up to join the chat. Then click the follow button to get reminders whenever the show goes live. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever good podcasts are given away for free, and at wickedtheory.com. You can support the show at patreon.com/wickedtheory. There you can get the after show if you miss it live. God forbid. Plus other exclusive episodes. As always, send your emails to podcast@wickedtheory.com.